If you log into an app right now and you see a Bitcoin balance on your screen, you don't actually own your Bitcoin. You own an IOU from a corporation. And if that corporation goes bankrupt or gets hacked or literally just simply decides to freeze your account, your wealth goes to zero. Now, we talk a lot on this channel about the silent depression. We know that the fiat system is broken. We know that the money printer is quietly stealing our time, diluting our purchasing power, and literally pricing us out of our own financial futures. Buying Bitcoin is the escape hatch from that debt spiral. But if you leave your life savings on an exchange, you haven't actually escaped the system. You've just traded a traditional bank for a digital one. You are still asking for permission to use your own money. Today, we are going deep into self custody and cold storage. We are talking about absolute financial sovereignty and what it takes to achieve that. I'm going to break down the computer science of how cold storage actually works, the brutal truth of what happens when you leave your coins online, and the exact step by step blueprint to take your power back. Let's get into it. We have been conditioned our entire lives to believe that a third party holding our money is the safest place for it. But Bitcoin was created specifically to destroy that model. It runs on a peer-to-peer network. When you buy Bitcoin on a major exchange, you aren't interacting with the blockchain itself. The exchange is just updating an internal centralized database. They are changing a number next to your name. And here's what's terrifying about that. Many of these platforms run on something called fractional reserves. They sell paper Bitcoin, meaning they might have one actual Bitcoin in their vault somewhere, but they've sold that same Bitcoin 10 different times to 10 different users on their platform, betting that not everyone will withdraw at the same time. If there is a bank run, like we saw with FTX, Celsius, or BlockFi, everyone tries to withdraw their Bitcoin at the same time, the exchange halts withdrawals. You are legally classified as an unsecured creditor. They used your Bitcoin to pay off their bad bets, and now you pay the price. There is this law in digital property that goes, not your keys, not your coins. Until you hold the cryptographic keys, you are just trusting another middleman to not screw you over with your Bitcoin. So, what does holding your keys actually mean? Looking at this through the lens of computer science actually makes it incredibly clear. And I'm going to try and simplify it down for you guys because I know not everyone is techie, so this might be one of the most daunting parts about Bitcoin, but I promise you it is so simple. So let's look at a hardware wallet like a Treasure, a Cold Card, or even a Bitbox. These hardware wallets don't actually hold any Bitcoin. The coins themselves never actually leave the blockchain. Now, reminder, the blockchain is just a globally distributed public ledger of who owns what. So, what your hardware wallet does hold is the cryptographic proof that you have the right to move those coins. It is your proof of ownership. All of this works on something called public key cryptography. Think of your public key like an email address or a bank routing number. Anyone in the world can see your public key and anyone can send funds to it. Your private key is like the master password to that address. Whoever holds the private key has total irrevocable control over those funds. But a private key is a massive, complex string of alphanumeric characters. It is basically impossible to memorize. I mean, unless you're like Einstein or something. So developers went and created a standard called BIP39, or maybe it's BIP39, but I like saying BIP39 because I think that's fun. It takes this massive mathematical key and translates it into a 12 or 24 word phrase. And now these words could be anything like apple, river, syntax, zero, you name it. It makes the seed phrase easy and simple to understand. The second type of wallet is a hot wallet. A hot wallet lives on your phone or your computer. It's connected to the internet, where malware or hackers can potentially scrape that seed phrase. A cold wallet, on the other hand, is a physical device. Remember that Ledger, Treasure, Cold Card? That physically generates your seed phrase completely offline inside a secure element chip that stays inside the wallet. So as long as the wallet is secure, the seed phrase is secure. Your keys never touch the internet when you hold them in cold storage. So when you want to send Bitcoin, you plug in your cold wallet, sign the transaction mathematically offline, then broadcast the proof of work to the internet. As Gen Z, we literally spend thousands of hours working, studying, trying to outpace this massive corrupt financial system that is fundamentally designed to dilute our wealth. We trade our time for Bitcoin because it's the only truly scarce property that's left. But here's the terrifying part. Most people take that indestructible digital energy and secure the password to it on an actual piece of paper. A piece of paper that can literally be destroyed by a house fire or a spilled cup of coffee or just fade away. If you are storing generational wealth in your 20s, it needs to be stored in something permanent. That's why I use microseed. It's a beautifully engineered 3D printed jig that lets you physically hammer your 12 or 24 word seed phrase into industrial grade stainless steel. It's fireproof, it's waterproof, it's literally a physical manifestation of what hard money actually is. So take it from me, don't leave your sovereignty up to chance. Check out the link in description to get your microseed today and use code Nikki for 5% off of your order. Okay, so now you might be thinking, Nikki, how do I actually set up any of this without messing up? And to that, I have to say, don't worry, I've got you. Here is an exact blueprint of what you can do. Step 1. Procurement. Buy a hardware wallet only from the manufacturer's official website. Never use Amazon or a reseller to buy your hardware wallets, guys. This is very, very important. Supply chain attacks are real, meaning someone can tamper with the device before it ever gets to your door. Step 2. Generation. Plug it in and follow the prompts to generate a new wallet. Write down your 12 or 24 words. Never ever take a picture of your seed phrase with your phone. Never type them into a cloud document or the Notes app on your iPhone or text them to your mom or your dad or your boyfriend or whoever. They stay in the physical world only. Step 3. The receive address. Open the device's companion app on your computer. Click receive. It will generate an address that usually starts with BC1. Copy that address, go to your exchange, hit withdraw, and paste it in. Step 4. The test run. This part is critical. Do not send your whole stack on the first try. Send $2 or even $20 worth of Bitcoin, whatever your most comfortable potential loss is. Now wait for the network to confirm it. Step 5, the pro move. Wipe and restore. This is how you conquer the anxiety of self-custody altogether. Once that $20 arrives, factory reset your hardware wallet completely. Wipe it completely clean. This is going to feel terrifying, but remember, the coins are on the blockchain, not the device. Now, restore your device using the seed phrase that you wrote down on that piece of paper. When you see that $20 pop back up on your screen, you will have absolute, unbreakable confidence that your backup works. Step 6. The Exodus. Now it's time to send the rest of your stack. You are now officially off the grid, so congratulations. You are your own bank. Step 6.5. Real sovereignty. Remember that seed phrase that I asked you to write down on that piece of paper? Well, now it's time to transfer it to a metal backup. Microseed is the one that personally I use and I would recommend you to use just because it's so simple, but you can also use like a titanium plate. All you need to do is transfer those words that are on your paper onto that metal plate and secure this. This is going to be your holy grail. This is the thing that gives you or anyone else access to your wallet, to your Bitcoin. So secure it. Since sitting down in August of last year to start this podcast, one thing about the reality of the fiat system has become incredibly clear. Getting off of zero is only half the battle. The other half is the anxiety of self-custody. The moment you take your coins off of an exchange, you become the bank. And frankly, the fear of making one wrong click and losing pretty much everything paralyzes people. I get it. It keeps them leaving their wealth on exchanges, meaning they don't actually own it. You shouldn't have to figure out air-gapped wallets and node routing all by yourself. And that is exactly why I partnered with the Bitcoin Way. They are a premium one-on-one consulting service that holds your hand throughout the entire process. Whether you're trying to build some wealth for you in your early 20s or you're trying to build some generational wealth to secure your family's financial future, the Bitcoin Way's experts hop on a call and guide you step by step with total privacy. They take the anxiety out of self-custody. So if you're someone and you're so intrigued by the idea of Bitcoin, but you have absolutely no idea where to start and would love some one-on-one guidance, check out the link in my description to book a free one-on-one call with the Bitcoin Way today. After you've completed this entire process, something is going to shift in your brain, I promise. You're going to look at your metal backup and you're going to realize that you're holding something really profound. You aren't holding debt anymore in the form of like US dollars or Aussie dollars or anything. You're not holding a promise from a politician or a yield from a bank. For the first time in human history, you can hold absolute digital scarcity in the palm of your hands. It cannot be diluted. It cannot be censored. It cannot be frozen. What you have moved onto that wallet stays on that wallet. I agree that being your own bank is a heavy responsibility. There is no like password reset link or customer support or anyone to call when, you do mess up and you make a mistake. But that responsibility is the price of freedom. And if there's one thing I've learned in my 20 years of living, it's that life is all about trade-offs. This is a small price to pay for total monetary freedom. This is how you secure a purchasing power that will outlast inflation spirals, that will outlast generations. This is how you can actually preserve your energy for your future and your future family. It's time for you to take the power back. As a reminder, all of the links for Microseed and the Bitcoin Way are down in the description. If you're stuck on a technical step or if you just have fear about taking self-custody, please drop it in the comments. I will be in there answering questions as soon as I see them. Other people might be there to help you out if you're new and you just really want to see people figure things out. The internet is a great place to learn, and the Orange Peel community is one of the best online. So thank you guys for everything that you do. With that being said, let me know what you thought of this video. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're not subscribed already. That really does help a college student just trying to fulfill her Bitcoin dreams out. And yeah, with that being said, stay curious, stay skeptical, and stay orange pilled. I'm your host, Nikki, and I will see you on Sunday for Satoshi Sundays number 8, which isn't that pretty crazy?